Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are TwinFinity.
Well done. We haven't done this in a while, and we got it on the first shot.
First try.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, one thing before we really get going on anything else. I'm playing midget tonight.
Yes, he's my little midget.
Angie normally has to sit on a pillow, but in order to make everything work and everything be framed properly, she decided that she needed to be on two pillows.
Actually, I think I'm on 3. Yes, I'm on 3 tonight.
I'm on 0 pillows, although I do have one available to me, so if I start to feel like I'm just way too not in the frame, you might see me shuffle onto a pillow.
I'll try and shrink down a little bit. No, I won't. I'll just be me.
She likes being the tall one tonight.
Well, the truth is, we used to have a chair that lived down here that was perfect for videos, and now it lives upstairs, and it's really an awkward chair to move around, so we don't bring it downstairs anymore. So now we have our computer on a different chair, and it's just not quite the right height. So I have to sit on extra pillows because it's higher, so I have to be higher. It's just the way it is.
I guess I just don't feel like sitting on a pillow.
This is why we used to show behind the scenes pictures, so you could see the weird things we would do with our computer to make it work. So, of course, once again, I feel like this is all the time that I'm like, I'm sorry it's been so long since we've done a question and answer video.
It really hasn't felt that long.
To me, it has.
It's been a while, but nowhere near a record.
True. Well, we did a video together a while ago, but we haven't done a question and answer video. But I've just been out of sorts, and, well, I've been struggling for the last 2 years with some abdominal stuff, and it kind of went away, and then it came back in January, and now it's come back with a vengeance. So I've just been struggling, and when your stomach hurts, you don't really feel like being happy, social, friendly, intuitive. None of that. But I'm working on it. So tonight might not be the best answers, but I'll give you the best I got.
I'm just all excited that it's spring now.
Yes.
Sort of spring.
Finally. You have golf booked for this week. That means it's spring.
Yes.
When there's golf, it's officially spring in Rob's world.
And usually I get my first 9 holes or 18 holes of golf in. And then it snows and we're having to wait another couple of weeks, and then the real golf season starts.
I'm sorry I'm laughing because it looks really weird to look down on you. When do I ever get to be the one that's taller?
Only when I'm standing lower down on a set of stairs.
Yes, and it's fun. I like it. Or when you're kneeling and I give you a hug kneeling.
Yeah.
By the way, one of you keeps asking for us to do a video of our real lives when we're not doing a video. And we chuckle so much for the stupid things that we do. If you saw how we lived our normal lives, you would roll your eyes because we do strange things, loving things, weird things. I'm going to give them one example.
I wonder if you got the same example I'm thinking of.
Oh, well, it'll be fun to see. We have a velvety kind of bedspread. So a couple of weeks ago, I was sliding off of it, and it made me all staticky. And we have this fun game that when we're staticky, we like to touch each other's fingers or touch each other's noses or something and zap each other. And so we did this how many times?
Oh, probably 10 times.
Yeah, because we were so amused. And there was, it was to the point you could see the sparks of electricity between us when we touch our fingers. And we were laughing so much going, oh my God, if people saw us in a video doing this, for people that want to see a video of our normal lives, what we do, you'd think we're psycho, because we do strange things.
That wasn't the example I was going to
Okay, yours is probably the one from just the other day.
Yeah.
The takeout window?
The takeout window.
Yeah.
We have a rectangular takeout window. I have to reach way above me to draw on the screen. Rectangular, we call it the takeout window. It's just actually about an 18-inch wide by 3-foot tall hole in the wall between our kitchen and our dining room. But that's where we slide our food through, so we call it the takeout window.
Yes.
So anyway, it's got the sink in front of it, which makes it really hard to sometimes reach over or lean through. So here I am. I'm on the dining room side of it, and Angie's on the kitchen side of it. And I'm leaning way through. I've squished my shoulders through. I'm leaning way through, and she's leaning way over towards me over top of the sink. All we're trying to do is give each other a kiss. Not like I just couldn't walk 12 steps around the end of the wall and come give her a kiss.
Just lean through the wall instead.
Right through the takeout window.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was another one recently that we were like,
Oh.
oh my God, if we did a video of this, people would think we were nuts. But that's how we live our real lives. So there you go. I don't know if we'll ever do a video of these crazy things because well, first of all, it's a lot of effort. And second of all,
they're situational.
Right. If you have a camera, like you got to set up a camera, then it's not authentic anymore, you know? So
we'd have to stage a movie.
I guess. I don't know how we'd ever do that. We need to have one of those, what do they call them? Like
reality shows.
Yes, where somebody's in here filming us. But you know what? The minute a camera's on somebody, I don't know if they're ever their full selves anymore. Like we'd be all like, oh my God, no, we didn't really do that. We didn't say that. Cut.
Well, I don't know. I think it wouldn't take us long to get used to it, or it wouldn't take me long.
Maybe. I don't know. But we're not always just goofy, too. I mean, sometimes we come home from work and we just vent. Friday, we both had annoying days with people that both annoyed the heck out of us. And it was actually kind of funny. Rob texted me that somebody was annoying him, and he said that's hard to do, which it is because Rob's such a calm, easygoing guy. And I had somebody in my office annoying me at the very same time he sent his text. So it was kind of like a twin flame moment, but a weird one. So then after we came home from work, we each had to share our annoying stories. And could you imagine us videoing that kind of stuff? This person did this. I mean, we're not always in 5D. We're going to be really honest. We're just not. Nobody ever is, unless you're some high guru living on a mountain. We're not meant to. We're meant to be human. We're here for the human experience. So
I can be pretty 3D sometimes.
So can I. Especially when I don't feel good. So anyway, I don't know if we'll ever do that video, but at least we thought we'd share some funny examples for you of the crazy things that we do. We love to spark each other. We'll like walk down the hall, rubbing our feet on the carpet, and then go zap.
Zap, yeah. A lot of times we don't even try to zap each other. We're just trying to give each other a kiss. Like I've just come home from work. I might have a jacket on. She might be walking around in the house. Might be minus 20 outside, and we're all set up and go to give each other a kiss, and our lips just get blasted by a static electricity zap, and we're like, ow, ow, ow.
And then we're like, let's do it again. It hurt, but let's do it some more. It's so dumb. It's really dumb. It's fun. So that answers the first question of somebody wanting us to do a video. Probably not going to happen, but there's your example.
I was going to ask what the question was, because I got the list of questions right here in my hand.
Well, it's not a question that was listed on there, because I never put it on there, because it's probably never going to happen. But they've asked this question several times. We're like, I don't know how to make that work.
Well, if they keep on asking, maybe we'll just have to keep on remembering some of these examples of things that we do.
Maybe. Or ridiculous things that we do. Okay. All right, so question number 2, we'll say.
Question number 2.
We answered question number 1 already.
See, I don't know how you do this, because question number 2 is a question I didn't want to start with, so I guess we didn't start with it.
There you go. It's question number 2. See, it's not question number 1.
This happens all the time. It just does. You get steered in a different direction. You have to just go with it. You could call it divine timing or divine intervention.
And I didn't even plan on sharing those things. They just kind of came out.
See, I asked for something to not be the question number 1.
I heard.
And you heard. We do this a lot.
Yes, we do. Welcome to Twin Flame Land.
Question number 2. I'm not going to number the rest of them because I'll get lost. Talking about energies, how do you cut sexual cords with an X to allow your own energy to come back to you?
Fair question.
It is.
So the first thing you want to do before you cut any cord, whether it's sexual energies or heart energies or any energies, you have to understand what the cord is, how it got there, why it's there, what it means. Because if you're going to just cut a cord and think that's the end, it's rarely the case. You have to understand some of the energetic and logical history of what happened. Otherwise, you're just going to create cords with either that person again or somebody else again. So that's number 1 step, is understand why that cord came. Was it because they had an attachment to you out of some sort of need, whether it was insecurity or love or whatever, or you to them. Was it a healthy attachment? Was it an unhealthy attachment? So you got to do a bit of digging first on the intellectual and emotional levels before you cut the cord. The cutting the cord itself is actually very simple. Funny enough, just before we did this video, I had a Reiki session with a client and we did some cord cutting. And Archangel Michael, who I always ask to do cord cutting because that's like his skill. It's one of his best powers with his big sword. He guided me to work with the person and say, okay, what are these cords about? Why are they there in the first place? And once we cleared that energy, then the cords were just cut. There was no need to do any work around it other than that. So once you've done the mental, the emotional, the psychological work around it, you can just ask Archangel Michael, please cut these cords, release this person in love, allow me to come back to myself in love. And then what I often do is, of course, beforehand, you know which cords you're cutting, you know where on the energetic body or the physical body they're linked. And then I always see the cords now going back into the person being healed. So there's no wound, there's no energetic opening or space. And then fill that space with love. Because once you release something, now there's like a hole there. And a hole is a vacuum. And the universe does not like a vacuum. It's going to fill it. So best to fill it with love, with kindness, with all the good energies that you want. And then I always do that with the other person that you've cut cords with as well. Because once you understand on a higher level, whatever the reason you had the cords for, even if they're negative cords and you didn't like the person or you don't want the attachment anymore, they served a purpose. That person was in your life to help you, to trigger a wound, to help you heal it or to grow or something. So I often will see their cords now released as well and send them love as well. And that way both parties can leave in love and peace, happiness, joy, forgiveness, all of that kind of energy. So really there's not a lot of work that goes into the actual cutting of cords. It's the pre-work of knowing why they're there in the first place and doing that sort of healing first. Because as I said before, if you don't do that healing, all you're going to do is attract another person to give you the same lesson again. Because until we get the lesson of why something's happened, we'll just keep attracting person after person after person, situation after situation to get the lesson across. So, anything to add, contribute? Because your 3D mind always has some good wisdom.
Well, I'd like to just add just a little bit of a different twist on this. And it's not much of a different twist, but when it comes to cord cutting, with the experience that I've had, especially with other people, and when they've talked about cord cutting, it seems to me that people will sometimes cut cords out of a desire to cut the cord as opposed to having completed the lesson of the cord and then doing more of letting the cord go as opposed to trying to cut it and force it away.
Mm.
So I would almost say it would be okay to leave a cord in place until its time to go has arrived. And generally you will know that because then the cord has got its own healing attached to it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. So in other words, leave it there until whatever is ready to almost take its place, the healing energy is available to just replace it, as opposed to trying to force it and make it go away. Because if you try to force it and make it go away, its energy may not quite leave you. And then I'm going to call that lingering energy baggage. I'll just give it a nickname called baggage. This is a poor example in some respects because there's a lot more to it than just wanting to cut cords. But it's kind of like the person that wants to quit smoking, as an example. And they haven't found a real reason to do it other than just because they've been told it's a good thing to do. So they try and they fail, and they try and they fail, and then they try and they fail. And then something comes into their life. Maybe it's a little corner of sickness. Maybe it's their own realization that smoking is bad for them and they don't like the kind of person that they become because they're doing it. Or maybe someone comes into their life that they find it's important now to actually let go of it. And once they have that energy available to them to actually have more than just willpower, they have a purpose for quitting smoking, it often makes it easier, even though easy may be not part of what it's like to quit something like smoking. It's just less difficulter. Yes. But yeah, if you've got something to substitute that energy with, great. If you've got nothing other than just a desire to let it go, yeah, you might end up in that treadmill of quitting and restarting and quitting, restarting, whatever that cord was responsible for. I hope I described that well.
Yeah, I think so. Now we have to flip our piece of paper.
We have a flippin' piece of paper.
It's funny, we were going to answer that question in our last video, but it was already getting long, so it was the last question on the page, and I was like, oh, I want to answer it, but we waited. So obviously it was its divine timing to get answered now.
Okay, the next question, without a number, without a label. Do you have any experience and advice for when the other is going through projection? Seems to be associated with their narcissistic behaviors, possibly stemming from their own childhood trauma and abuse. Projection.
That's always a fun one.
Sometimes there's positive projection, negative projection, and then replacement or asking projection. I'll give you an example of that third one. For example, when I want a little bit of nurturing, I tend to give nurturing, hoping I get nurturing back.
Yep.
Yeah, Angie sees that one. That's a form of projection.
Yes, it is.
I need love. I need some consolation.
So let me kiss your hand 15 times on a drive that we just did yesterday. Or you dabble my hand, but I had hand cream on, so you'd go.
Yes. Don't ask about dabbles. That's another, question one thing. Okay, your turn.
So, first of all, it's great that you can recognize when it is projection, because a lot of people don't earlier on in their journey, and then they own all that crap that's being thrown at them and think it's all theirs. But it's clearly sometimes not. And when you can see that it's projection, that's step number one. That's fabulous, because that's often the hardest step, is knowing that it is projection. Step number two is pull back from it. So you've recognized it. Now pull back and go, I'm not owning this, because this isn't mine. I know it's not mine. But you can know it's not yours and still then take it on, because I used to do that when I was with a narcissist. And that's really hard if you've also had a lot of your own trauma, and, in this thing they're talking about a narcissist, and obviously if you have a narcissist in your life, you've clearly had trauma in your own life, because for people who are balanced, they don't attract a narcissist. And there's absolutely, I'm not saying this with any sort of criticism, because it's part of the journey. I mean, I had a narcissist and it was my greatest teacher. So it's not about, oh, I'm bad because I've attracted this. No, celebrate it. It's a good thing in the end. Maybe not in the middle of it.
Yeah, during it, it's not very nice.
No, it sucks. It's the hardest growth you're ever going to do.
But growth, learning, yes. You will grow, you will learn.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll learn to recognize it next time and not get so deep into it.
Yes. So step number one, great, you've recognized it is projection. Step number two, don't take it on as your own. Don't own it. Don't carry the energy of it. Don't carry the words of it. Step number three, I would highly recommend, if it's a narcissist, you don't bother even pointing it out that it's projection, because a narcissist can't own their own stuff. If it is a true narcissist, they have no inner core. And this is interesting. This question came to us long before we did our last joint video, which was about twin flames, soulmates, karmic partners, and narcissists. And we will link that here. I'm actually going to take a note of the time. Good. Because it gets harder now to link videos and remember, when did I mention that? We will link that video so you can, if you haven't seen it, watch that and kind of learn a little bit more about what a narcissist is. But because they don't have their own inner core, they don't have an ability to see themselves. They can't see and own any of their own negative stuff, any of their shadow side. So if you're going to just point out that that's projection, that's really your stuff, Mr. or Mrs. person, they're not going to take it, and all they're going to do is throw it back at you even more, even harder, and even more intense, and it just gets ugly. So you never want to even bother challenging a narcissist, because it's just going to get gaslit back to you 10 times more.
Yeah, it seems that trying to get a narcissist to understand when they've done projection is like trying to teach somebody a language when they just don't understand it at all. They just don't get it. They never will, because they just don't have the receptors to understand the concept.
Totally. So it's not about the other person and trying to get the other person to see, look, this is yours, I'm not owning it. It's for you. The lesson is for you to just recognize, this is not mine and I'm not owning it. So don't even worry about the other person, just worry about yourself, and worry about recognizing that I don't need to take this on. This isn't my shit. Or you might want to recognize that even though they're projecting, maybe there is a piece of you that does need to look at that still within yourself. Because I know with my narcissistic connection, there was tons of projection, but there was some of it that was mine. And I really did need to look at and own and heal in order for us to come back together. Had I not looked at some of that stuff that he was projecting on me that was his, but that was also mine, we couldn't have come together, because I had to do some of that healing. So it's a fine balance of knowing, yes, it's projection, but is it mine or isn't mine as well? Do I need to look at this in some way or don't I? And even I find if they're not a narcissist, there's sometimes, unless it's a close friend or a family member that you have a healthy bond and a connection with, it's not worth telling them that it's projection, because that gets people's back up, and if they don't understand projection, all they're going to do is project more. I have a parent like that, and I've just stopped. It's just not even worth it, because if they can't own their stuff, if they're not that at that point in their own healing, they can't even see it. And so you trying to point it out, it's not going to help.
I only ever so slightly disagree with Angie.
And that's good. Sometimes perspective is great.
I would always try once to express what you see and what you feel. And if the person doesn't know what projection is, and if you start to get the blank look, or if you start to get it thrown right back at you, that gaslighting bit, that's when you back off and understand that, no, it's not likely going to be something that'll be a learning for both of you. I don't know what to recommend if you can't help somebody else, what we would call classically, improve. If it's just going to be a permanent flaw, that sometimes ends up being something that you have to look at, deciding whether or not you're going to be close to for an exceptionally long time or not.
Right.
But I would always try once, and
that's fair.
And just keep your eye open for when it's getting ready to start to turn back on you. If it does, maybe the person will be very receptive once, and then just when you think you have a little bit of confidence, the second time you bring it up, all of a sudden they're all teeth, because they have decided inside of them that projection is BS, and the next time that they hear it, they're going to shut you down. That can also happen.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and it takes practice and your own intuitive internal guidance to kind of know in each situation, how to deal with it, what to do, what to say, what not to say.
I still think one of the worst things you can do is just hide it inside.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Was there another piece to that question?
Seems to
Okay,
be no, not
yeah.
really. No.
Okay.
I think we walked through that one.
Yes.
The next question is one I actually glanced at just because I was kind of drawn to read it because it's a relatively short question. It only takes 2 lines on the page, but it's got 7 sentences. It caught my eye. And I rather like the question. Are we ready?
Yep.
How do you surrender? That's a great word.
And that's a fun one for everybody.
Every time I do, boom, my twin flame pops up texting. If I ignore this person, they just keep texting till I do respond. Text for a while, and then all of a sudden, they shut down, and it turns back into ghosts. Been going on for 4 years, just like this. Just want to stop.
Yeah.
So
Totally get that frustration.
can I make my? I'd like to make the first comment.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 sentences. How do you surrender? Every time I do, boom, my TF pops up texting. Your surrender has worked just perfect.
Exactly. I was just gonna say he's teaching you. You're learning it through him.
Surrendering is not about giving up and walking away. Surrendering is about changing a tactic to allow something to happen because what you have been doing is blocking the energetic flow. Surrendering is about allowing energy to move. So if you surrender and something happens from it and it keeps happening, your surrender's working great.
And this is proof of the twin flame connection because how many people can relate to this and go, yep, I've done the same thing. I know I have. In fact, so many times it was only when I would surrender that he would respond again. And it was like, oh, well, isn't that kind of cool? And you start to get the pattern and you go, okay, I get how this works. And it's like your twin flame reads your energy. They don't have to be anywhere near you physically. They don't have to be chatting with you to know that, hey, it's not like you've announced to them, hey, guess what? I surrendered. They don't know you've surrendered on a conscious level, but because you're connected on a much deeper level, their energy feels that. So now their energy, what you've done when you've surrendered is taken like the gateway between you that's been closed and open it up. So now they have a pathway that they can now communicate through. And it's like magic. Every time surrender happens, the other one just communicates on some way, some level, because they feel that channel is now open. Now, the frustrating part for this person that I totally get is
the start and the stop and the start and the
right,
stop and the start and the stop.
Because what's happening for you then is now you're, as soon as, and this is assumption, so, if I'm wrong, that's let me know, or go take this if it resonates, take it or not take it if it doesn't. But you're saying you text for a while and then he shuts down and goes. Because probably what happens with your energy is now you've gone back into whatever you want to call it, but not surrender. Whether it's control, whether it's excitement, whether it's attachment again, clinging to that hope of, oh my God, now he's talking to me. I gotta keep him connected. And as soon as he starts feeling that it starts closing in on him again, and he's like, okay, forget it, too much energy again. So it's learning to manage your energy. It's not about him. It's about you, and he's like your barometer. Every time he pulls away, that's your way of knowing you've come in too much, too hard, too fast, with too much energy. So it's learning to manage your energy. It's learning to stay in that state of surrender instead of now going, oh my God, he's communicating and now I got to give him everything. And you start throwing all this energy at him, all these words at him. I would do the same thing with Rob. He would finally communicate and I'd just go blah, 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 and he'd just be like, okay, too much. And then I wouldn't hear from him for however long until I surrendered again. So it's a practice. It's an art. But every time you see when you know that you've surrendered is because he'll come back. He'll start communicating. When he pulls away, that's your indication of, okay, my energy has gotten out of control again. I'm out of balance again. I got to get recentered again and then communicate with him.
I'm going to say almost the same things, just with a bunch of different words.
That's okay, because people get your words. They totally resonate with what you say.
When the person who's doing the ghosting gets back in touch, it's because they have something that they need to satisfy on their end, whether it's just keeping a line of communication open. Maybe they just have got through the last blast of energy that they got well enough that they want to be in touch. Most of the time, they don't really know exactly what they want to be in touch for or why. They just do. They just have this feeling that it's just the right time to text or make a phone call or something. So, without blasting back at them, I would almost suggest that if the person that's doing the ghosting has found their purpose, their reason for getting back in touch with you, just respond with a, thanks for being in touch with me. I appreciated it. And then leave it. Let them keep on working to find their reason deeper to then respond back, because you've gave them a positive affirmation, a thank you for being in contact, but you didn't do anything else to satisfy whatever little piece of energy that they likely need by being back in touch with you. So then let them come back with the next bit, and chances are there'll be something in there.
I like that. Yes.
So, acknowledgement without saturation.
Yes. Now, do you remember enough of that period of us going through it? Like, can you explain from the masculine point of view what happens? Like, when you felt bombarded either with my words or my energy, what did it feel like bombardment that you then would pull away and go, okay, I don't want to communicate anymore? Like, can you explain that?
No,
or was it not on a conscious level?
No, it was a definite need without an understanding. It was like, yeah, I need to just be in touch, and I don't know why.
But then when you were in touch, and then because I had surrendered, you felt like you could be in touch, but then I would give too much, and then you pull away again. Do you remember consciously what would happen if I would give too much and you'd pull away?
I sort of do remember, but I think it was more about, I have mostly the right words and I should just go with them as opposed to trying to fix them to make them perfect. The reason I would call was not understood as being any form of a reciprocal communication. It was just something within inside of me that I felt that I must do. So as soon as I was in touch with you and you turned it back into something about you, it wasn't about me anymore and I'd lose interest. Hence why you've got to leave the energy with them so that they sort it out. You wouldn't need to even do very much, because as soon as the conversation didn't answer a question of why I felt like calling to begin with, it became a reflection of the old energy that caused me to go silent to begin with. It just reminded me of the old energy as opposed to letting me find my own new energy.
Okay.
So it's super delicate.
And I think you've also said in other videos, it's like when a person gives too much and the masculine is like, okay, now I don't know what to do with all this. Like I don't have a place to put this. So I don't even know how to process it, so I'm just not going to reply because I don't know what to reply with.
You got to shut down and process on your own.
Right.
Because you definitely don't want to ask for more clarity, because it's just more.
You've just given more information. You're like, I don't want any more.
I'm full already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the feminine energy, and again, we're not meaning the female. It can be the male. It's whatever energy you dominate more in.
It's the energy descriptor, not the gender descriptor.
Right. As the feminine energy, we tend to like want to give, and then the masculine is like, whoa, too much, and then because they don't know how to process it. So you got to dabble. You got to just give them a little bit at a time.
There's that word again.
Yeah, you and dabble. There you go. Thank you. I don't taste like hand cream tonight.
I hope not. Like she said, right after hand cream, boy, the end of my tongue would just be all dried out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that's helpful because I know this is a big one for so many people. So let the ghoster, per se, be your barometer. They're letting you know how much energy you've given, and if you've given too much, or if you're not in balance when you're giving, it's going to be too much for them and they're going to pull away. So if they're not pulling away, that means you're in a place and they're in a place of a nice, healthy giving and receiving. And if not, then you know you're giving too much, they're not able to receive it.
Kind of like why I recommend you give so little that you leave them wanting.
Yes. Yes. And it's not about mind games. You're not doing it to play mind games. You're doing it more to understand energy. It's about the energy, not about the words, not about the psychology. It's not about, well, they've ghosted me, so now the hell with them, I'm going to ghost them. Don't play those games. That's just childish, and that's going to make things even longer and more drama filled. It's about practicing working with your energy. And like Rob's saying, it's about give them a little bit. Give them a little bit of your energy so you're not bombarding them. So then they want to come back for more. Look at that, I reached a goal and I'm just sitting here. What did I reach? Oh, my stand goal. I'm not even standing. Look at me.
But you're taller.
Well, that's true.
Probably looked over at me and going, boy, you must be really standing. Apple Watch runs her life.
Oh, dear.
To-do spreadsheet runs my life.
Not a gift I would have bought myself, but I enjoy the gift. Okay, next question.
Okay. Now, of course, this one I haven't read at all.
That's okay.
I'd like to manifest my twin flame back. In February, he said he was coming close to me. And what's that mean?
We had a date in May, then in October he texted me that he was moving on.
Saw him in a restaurant. I tried to act like I didn't see. He
looked surprised.
Oh, looked surprised.
Yeah. Our energy is so strong. Do I give up? I miss him so much. I worry he's with someone. I had a Reiki session and they said to cut the cord. Do I just allow him time and to miss me? Do I send energy and love to him? This question could have been melded with the last one. Same stuff applies. Same stuff. And I can tell you all, this person that asked this question, when they ask a question to us, I feel their energy as that bombarded, like it's bombarding to me. And again, not at all meaning this is critical, meaning this to help you understand how energy works. When you come across so intense, your twin flame goes, holy crap, like that, I don't know what to do with all that energy. So they pull away. So this person, I feel their energy is intense, and I can't even keep responding to their questions online, which I don't even do anymore because I got too burnt out from that. So I don't continually have conversations with people anyway. But back then I was with her, and it got so overwhelming. So that's, again, learning to manage your energy. Start becoming aware of the energy you're putting out. Are you throwing out so much energy because of feeling worthless, of feeling like you're not good enough, like you have to give too much, fear of being abandoned, so I gotta like cling and hang on? If you want to cling and hang on and you're afraid of abandonment, you're going to push them away even faster. And a lot of people don't even know they're doing that. So that's where it's like self-introspection, learning what's going on with me, what am I doing? Stop looking at them. It's about what you're doing. They're just giving you the mirror of, okay, you're not doing something that works for me, so I'm going to pull away. Every time they pull away, ask yourself, what have I done to push them away? Because they're your mirror.
I'm glad you took the first run at making a comment on this question, because now my mind has gone out grinding in a somewhat different direction. I think we have all met somebody who is very gregarious. They step into a room, they are the life of the party. They don't even have to try, they just are. They do it. And on top of that, they also think that they're normal. They just see other people as being a little bit quieter for the moment, but everybody does what they do because everybody's equal. Some people might be calm in nature, but their energy is very gregarious. Their energy just bounces around them. And in, in spite of anything, they also don't realize it because they're used to their energy.
Right.
Their energy is normal to them, where it is completely over the top for some others. That's almost what you were describing when you say
Totally.
their energy just bombards
Yeah.
through everything that they say.
Yeah.
And this question had a bit of that too, just the way the words are. I felt a lot of, I didn't think of it as energy, I thought of it as emotion. But emotion is energy. It really is.
It's energy in motion.
So there's just one sentence in here. It says, our energy is so strong. Is it the our energy is so strong? Or is it an individual energy that is so strong? Sometimes Angie and I talk about being, like, I'll say me, her, and then there's us. It's almost like there's three entities. Us as individuals, and then the us as a together one unit. So when someone says our energy is so strong, I often find that a little suspect. It's probably one energy is so strong, and another energy is just all beat up and bruised and stomped on by the other energy that is so strong. And, together it still might be stronger together, but not as strong as it could be if it was balanced and accepting and trusting energy, as opposed to just pedaling to keep up energy.
Yeah.
Now that's one bit. Boy, I had a Reiki session and it was said to cut the cord. We've already talked lots about cutting
It's funny
cords
how the questions are actually all tied together. It's very interesting.
Cord cutting.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting. I would volunteer to sit down in front of a group of 50 Reiki practitioners and just talk about cord cutting and how it is not easily done, and all the different potential energetic, both positives and negatives. I don't want to call it an energetic backlash because it often isn't, but more often than not it is an energetic backlash because all that energy now has no place to flow to.
Well, and especially if you're connected on a soul level, you can't cut that energy, and if you try, you do get a backlash.
Another portion of this question, do I just allow him time and to miss me? I'm going to just change that question just a little bit. Do I just allow him time to miss me? I just have to take one word out of there that changes the question just a little bit. Do you want somebody to live in your existence because they miss you? Or do you want them to live in your existence because they love you, because they appreciate you, because they want to be there? If someone's just missing you, it may take very, very little energy before they're done missing you. Hence why they take their distance again. It's when a person starts to be on the edge now, crave might be a little bit too strong of a word, but when a person can accept and want your energy as it's given and they have a place for it and it fits with them, that's what you really want to go towards. So when you give a person time, you're giving them time to heal. When you're done with the healing process, then the goal switches over to being a strengthening of a relationship, which then, in many cases, not only is that energetic, but it's about communication. Let's call communication third dimensional acceptance. So it's not all just about energy, it's about multiple levels of foundations. So don't forget about the 3D and the 4D when you're working on the 5D, and if you can do it, the 6D. 6D is so far beyond me that I read about the concept, can't touch it, as far as I know.
Now, I'd just like to answer that question of, do I just allow him time to miss me? I would say you allow him time, but while you're allowing him time, give yourself the time as well. Give yourself the time to heal your own wounds, to heal your codependency, to heal your, probably, I'm going to assume, abandonment issues, to heal your need for him to be in your life, in your world, in your energy. Come into your own fullness. And that small words and big effort. It's not an easy, and it's an overtime thing. It's not, just you snap your fingers and you're there. But that's why I say, while you're allowing him time, allow yourself time too, to do your work. It's no secret that when everybody says, focus on yourself, it's because that's the biggest part of this journey. You have to do your healing if you want to have connection with someone else. Because how do you connect with someone else if you're not connected to yourself? If you're not connected to yourself in a whole and balanced and healthy way? If you think you need somebody else to be something for you, then you're not quite there yet. If you can just allow somebody to be in your life or not be in your life, that's when you know you've found wholeness and completeness with yourself. When you don't need them, but you desire them. It's a very different energy.
There's another little portion to this question too. It's, I worry he's with someone. I don't know why. I don't use this word very often, but the word I'm going to use is aura. If you are in a state of worry, your aura, its color, its energy, the way it projects around you is much different than if you have received knowledge and you're in an aura of acceptance. If you learn something and accept it, you'll give off a much different aura than the defensive and negative aura of worry. That worry, oftentimes you will bombard that because you don't like your own feeling of worry. You'll bombard that with your own energy, but that just bounces right off you and splatters all over everything all around you.
Yeah.
Because worry is a huge defense.
Yeah.
It really is. It's very all-consuming in many cases. You'll lay awake at night worrying about one thing. So if you're worried somebody is with someone, you're almost better off to know the answer and work towards acceptance and let them figure out how they're going to deal with being with someone. If they're going to deal with someone by staying with someone, you can't really change that.
No.
Because chances are, with all the times you've been in touch with them, they've already got their own perceptions of what you are about, and there's very little you can do to change that. Again, it's up to them to develop their answers, not for you to give them their answers.
Yeah. And first of all, I just got to say that I love that, the aura thing.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. I was also just going to say, when you can come to an acceptance, and I know this is so hard for almost every twin flame, because our egos get in the way and go, well, how can they be with somebody else? Because they're supposed to love me. Don't they know I'm their person? We're connected at this deep level. They can't be with anybody else. Well, guess what? They need that other person, because that other person is the gift to them to help them grow enough to be with you. So if you can, instead of worrying about them being with somebody else, and go, oh my God, maybe there was somebody else. That's so great because this person is going to help them. They're going to learn lessons in that relationship. So take your ego out of it, take the fear out of it, take the abandonment out of it, take the worthiness out of it. Those are all the parts that need healing, right?
Yep.
Those are all the parts that are creating the worry that I'm not good enough because they got to be with somebody else and not with me. No, they're with somebody else because that's where they need to be right now, because that's where their growth is. They're with somebody else so they can come and be with you and be their best self. We've said this time and time and time again in videos that we are so grateful for our other people that we were with beforehand because they gave us all the lessons, the tools, the experiences, and the growth in order to be together. We became our best selves in those other relationships so that we could be together. And if it weren't for those other people, we probably wouldn't be together because we wouldn't have gotten the lessons and the growth and the work and the healing. So don't worry about them being with somebody else. Celebrate it. I know that's tough. People hate it when I say that because they're like, I can't celebrate that. Yes, you can when you do your healing work and know that it's not about you. It's not about not being good enough for them. It's not about them not loving you enough. It's not about you. It's about them needing to be where they are for their own purposes.
When you've done your best and someone's decided not to be with you, it's about them, not you. If you know you've done your best, then accept that. Give yourself your own passing grade.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself honors if you know you've done really well. This comes from a guy that went through high school and my best was 51%. It wasn't anywhere near honors, but it still got me through.
It's so funny. And yet you're completely intelligent, and I call you Mr. Engineer all the time because you're so damn smart. I aced math, and I used to do extra math homework just for fun, and he does math in his head just like that, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, counting on my fingers.
See, I can do it in my head. I just could never prove it on paper. Didn't do me any good.
Didn't do me any good either. Not yours, mine. I did extra algebra just for fun. Where did it get me in life?
I never found that fun.
Anyways, we're off topic.
We're way off topic.
How are we for time here?
We're probably close.
52. Hopefully we can get through these last two, but I don't know if we can do both. Because we talk too much.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to that one.
Oh, just to keep things entertaining and confusing.
Yes.
Fine.
It's a challenge. It'll be a math exam. What number of question did we skip?
That's right.
It's only just a flip.
It's not a skip, it's a flip.
That's right.
Okay.
I probably chose the short question. That's got
With
the
the hard
long
answer.
answer.
Yeah, probably.
Life's just like that. Should the twin flame divine feminine trust her intuition and recognize her twin flame despite his attempts to hide and create a fake social media account?
Well, that's
Whoa.
Oh, well.
I'm no good at that stuff because I'm not really a social media account. I don't even know the 3D parameters for what's social protocol on this.
Rob wouldn't have a clue if I logged him into Facebook to where do I go? What do I do? How do I do any of this?
I have troubles finding comments on my own videos that I do. Actually, I don't. I've figured that out.
Yeah, you've gotten much better at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can even click on the little heart thing that says like when someone leaves a comment.
Yeah, but social media, not so much your thing. Okay,
No.
Not at all your thing. You can do YouTube now. Well, you can do comments on YouTube. You don't know how to upload a video or any of that. But anyway, we're off topic again.
Yeah. Trust her intuition.
Yes.
That's one thing I can comment on.
Okay.
Always trust your intuition.
For sure.
Even if it doesn't do you well all the time, it's good practice.
Yes. Now, when it's saying, though, despite the attempts to create a fake social media to hide, sure, trust your intuition, but does that mean you go call out the person and say, oh, I know it's you, and you just created a fake account? Don't do that. I don't recommend it. Because if they've created that account, they've done it for their own reasons. And by being called out, all it's going to do is push them away further, create them to run further. They've obviously done it for a reason, whether it's for their own insecurity, their own fear, whatever. That's for them to figure out and heal and look at. It's not for you to go call them out on. That's my thoughts. But trust your intuition, absolutely. If you know it's them, it's them. You can feel their energy, even if it's a different name and a different picture and different stuff. Your twin flame is an energy, so you know.
Not knowing how all this works, I've already said this once. Not knowing how all this works, I've now said it 3 times.
You don't need to say it 4th. We get it.
Okay. I would tend to go back on the original social media account and say, I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe you're communicating using a different account name. Do you want me to just leave you alone for a little while?
They might be
ask.
blocked on that account, or the other person might have closed that account. There's so many weird things that go on in the social media world. That's why you just don't even want to be a part of it. It's
somewhere on my 387 line to-do list is get yourself on a social media platform where you can be found. It's way down there on the list. It probably would be good for me. I probably wouldn't know what to do with it.
And it's going to create a lot of work for me.
That's right. She'll have to set it all up for me.
Right. And
then
like, how do I do this?
And then save me from it.
How do I reply to this?
No. Just like on some of my own little videos, just let me write my own little bombs.
I just do now. Yep.
Yeah, sometimes I write some giant long comment
and
because
I
feel
you
all
go for
inspired.
it. You're responsible for the rest of it now. I've learned how to manage my energy differently, so I don't do that anymore. Just because I have to manage my energy.
See, I'm okay with my energy. My energy just goes all over the place. It doesn't get too badly overloaded. It's my time that gets all messed up.
That's right. And when summer hits, you don't have the time because golf and mountain climbing is your world.
When winter hit, I didn't really have the time.
Well, that's true.
That's why I give one great big long answer, because if that didn't cover it all, I give up.
Okay, let's see if we can do the other question.
Nah, we're at 57 minutes. I think we should...
I want to just read it and see if it's... Actually, if you don't mind, I would like to, because it ties right in with this one again. Look at what I just wrote down there as a note from before. And that was before even reading this.
I'd like to think I'm good at taking advice. I think we're going to do another question.
Well, only because it so perfectly ties in with everything else.
All right, question is, bumped into my twin today after feeling concerned if he was alive or not, as I witnessed him being picked up in an ambulance last week.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that sounds complicated. And even called the hospital confirming he was in the emergency ward. He started closing down after a beautiful 2 months of love, just when he was sort of opening up.
Which again ties in with all of this.
He slammed me out. He started closing down. He slammed me out. Okay, that must have been a slightly different event. He was cold and brushed me off, saying, "It's all about you, isn't it?" And I was gobsmacked. We've touched on this. I'm glad I'm asking this question.
Thank you.
This is what I get for not pre-reading questions. I don't know where they all link into each other. Why would he say something like that? I think comment first.
Yeah.
He was cold and brushed me off, saying, "It's all about you, isn't it?" I commented earlier in this video that sometimes people are in contact with you because it's about them, but they don't understand it. And as soon as you take over with the communication, it does become about you and they lose interest.
Mm.
Sometimes to let a person grow, they have to just be left to their own devices to figure it out on their own. And they just need that little bit of encouragement to let themselves talk themselves through it.
Right.
Or think their way through it.
Yep.
And sometimes that process takes time, and as soon as you go interrupting that process, then it becomes all about you. So if somebody says it's all about you, chances are you've, with no ill intent, you've just made it not about them. And in a lot of cases, when you want somebody to grow, sometimes the teaching has to stop and the absorbing and the reprocessing has to kick in. Boy, how many times can we say something very similar to that?
Well, and that's why I was amazed how well, like, this ties into two different questions. The first part, to me, he started closing down after a beautiful 2 months of love, just when he was sort of opening up. That often happens. Again, that can happen for a couple reasons. One, because your energy becomes too much, because as they're opening up, you go, oh my God, they're opening up. And then you start oversharing and overgiving energy, and then they pull back.
The gregarious energy thing.
Right. But it can also be theirs too, because if they've been opening up, they might start feeling vulnerable, and they might be going, oh my God, sharing too much. This is getting too scary. I don't know what to do with all this. This is like, especially for the masculine, they live up here. All of a sudden, if they're sharing too much, they're living in their heart, and they're like, whoa, I don't know what to do with all this. This is too much feeling for me. I need to go back into thinking. So then they pull back.
And sometimes they just get full. Okay, I'm full. Time to take a break. Bye.
Yeah.
Now, you've just been slammed out, but they're full. That's not about you. That's about them.
Right. So it's learning to just let them be full and let them process their thoughts and their emotions, because they do it very differently than the feminine. The feminine, how do we process things? We talk. We need to chat, and that's why we have girlfriends and guy friends and all these people to talk to. Whereas the masculine energy needs to go into their cave. They need to pull away so they can think it through. They don't feel things through so easily. They need to make it make sense logically. So it's about just letting him do his thing. Now, when he's also saying it's all about you, Rob had a good explanation. I like that. I took it from a different perspective, though, and wrote the word projection. Sometimes it can be they're saying it's all about you because that's their way of projecting, because they're not able to have it be all about them. They might have too many insecurities, and now you're giving them all this love and attention, and they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with that, because I don't feel worthy of it, I don't feel deserving of it, I don't feel good enough for all of this. So then they're going to project all of their insecurities onto you, and instead of allowing them to have it be all about them, they're going to say, oh yeah, it's all about you, and project that crap onto you.
And it could very easily go that way too.
Yeah. It did. I know I used to be that way. Absolutely. Because I couldn't take in love and kindness. So I would project, and I would be mean, and I would say hurtful things. And it's projection because of fear, because of unworthiness, not feeling deserving of it. Now Rob will give me love, and I'll be like, yep, I'm taking all the love you can give me because I couldn't take it before. So now I'm taking my share plus my share from then. And we joke about that all the time.
Yeah.
Because now he can nurture the crap out of me. And I'm like, good, I'm taking it. I can take all the love you want to give. Because now I can. Before I couldn't. Because I didn't feel deserving of it. And because it was scary. It's hard to let somebody in when you have a lot of wounds. Because you're afraid of getting hurt.
And she also didn't have a place for it.
No.
She hadn't developed the happy spot for all this attention.
Absolutely not. Now I got all happy spots in the world. I'm like, okay, you can give me more love. Sure. So this question tied in really well with everything else, and I think we've already answered it by answering some of the other ones. But you had a great response too about, all about you. So I think that's very helpful. So I think we'll leave it there unless you have...
No.
Okay.
I don't have any further insights.
Okay.
Because I don't know the next questions. I don't have any foresights either.
The other questions might take a whole video themselves just by looking at them.
Because there's
two books.
There's two questions that are as long as everything else we read out tonight combined plus
yes.
a bit.
Yeah, so those might be a whole video all on their own. We'll see. But anyways, thank you for being back with us for a new question and answer video. And can't promise when another one will be. It'll just be when it is.
When it's a rainy day and we can't go golfing or mountain climbing.
That's right.
Or bike riding or running.
Welcome to summer. Rob's world completely changes.
Or working on my train set.
Right.
With the garage door open.
Yes. So we love you guys. Thank you for your questions. And we'll be back with more
Later.
sometime. Yes.
Catch you later.
Bye for now.
Bye.